Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Power Alliance podcast. I'm happy to be back. If you've been following us, you know that some of the other co-founders have been hosting the podcast, and I'm happy to be back. Let me tell you a little bit about my beautiful guest. Brenda has spent 20 years of her life learning personal development from Bob Proctor, Les Brown, Jack Canfield, and so many more of the greats. More than 40 of those years were spent studying the Bible. She studied the lessons, miracles, and she learned to trust God. She spent her time sharing all of the gifts that she received through her journey with God. So where is she now? She's the co-author of I Am a Difference Maker creativity book for the past 3 years. She's been mentoring youth and children through the Optimist Club. Well, I'm already in just hearing that, and there's so much more. She found her way. She found her walk with God is that she found that in her walk with God is what gives you the opportunity to do what you want to do and to go for it. This is going to be such a good interview for so many women out there. She was blessed to be given the opportunity to choose to make a difference in the lives of youths and children. And she wanted to help in her community, her nation, and her world. She says, when I look back now, I know I am leaving a legacy for future generations. She really wants to make an impact. So the birth of Unbounding Potential came to be. She used a combination of lessons learned from God, her own experiences, knowledge from mentors, and past youth and children experiences to create her legacy, to create what can and will change the world. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here, Michelle.
It's no small feat to write a book.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing when it's led by God and He is sharing the vision with you. And it has been such a blessing to be able to share it and mentor it with the youth and children in our community.
Well, before we talk specifically about what you're doing now, share what is your background before you were you a teacher? What did you do before you wrote the book and started what you're doing now?
Well, I was actually an event planner focusing on weddings and corporate events. And it was very fulfilling, but in 2020, when our governor shut us down, I really had to dig deep and ask, what can I do if I can do anything I want to? And it caused me to be silent and to actually listen. So when I first heard what I wanted to do, it kept on drawing me back to the mentorship program that I use with my Optimist Club. And it was with the youth and children in our community. And that was the focus. And then it just went from there, and the visions came through, and I knew that was the best path that I could do. And it wasn't going to be event planning and coordination um, for weddings and corporate. It was going to be making a difference within the youth and children.
Wow. I know a lot of people can relate to, really having to make some major life decisions and pivot, either pivot the way that they did business or pivot their careers. And so I mean, it's not totally new because you had been involved in it, but really the pivot was now you're like all in.
Yes, 100%. And I actually feel like rejuvenated and ready to take on the day and ready to move forward versus, before it was, oh, okay, I got to go to the office today and we'll see what kind of events we're going to be doing this weekend. And this has been, oh, I can't wait to see what the kids have come up with or who we're going to meet that we're going to then move forward into the next calling. What organization are we going to help next?
I mean, it's such a timely, God's timing is always perfect. He's never late, he's never early. And what an amazing thing to be doing what you're doing at this time where really through, I feel like kids, especially school aged, whether it's elementary, the middle, or the secondary school, they really, really suffered so tragically through the lockdowns, not being able to go to school and having things change so dramatically. So what you're doing, I mean, the timeliness of that, it's only God.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's such a blessing. Um, I feel like the whole thing has been God led. And I know He's pointed me and will connect me with the people I need to meet to continue the mission.
Wow. Well, it's a beautiful thing. And so would you say that now, I mean, you're almost a year, probably a year after the fact, right? So it was about a year ago, as of the time that we're recording this, that really everything in the world got kind of simultaneously shut down. We didn't know at the time. We were thinking like it would last a couple weeks, maybe a month. So especially in the event planning world, you're like, well, we have to reschedule these few events, but we'll get back on track later in the season, having no clue that literally that was just gone.
Yes, 100%. And I came to the realization in early April when a lot of people were like, oh, well, think I'm going to just reschedule. And their event was in October. And I was like, really? Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about this, and I really had to come to a realization that this could be that you don't do any events this year. And it turned into we only did 5. And the whole thing last year was all God given, where I was blessed with some abundance to pay bills and still be able to work on the new mission and the new purpose.
Wow. I hear story after story of people that were women that were either in a job or a career or even a business that they were doing, but they weren't having that fulfillment that you're talking about, where you wake up every morning kind of with this on purpose passion that goes beyond what we do, right? I mean, I really feel like as I have stepped into my most authentic self over the last couple of years, you don't wake up every morning thinking, oh man. You wake up every morning thinking, oh God, what do you got today? Like it's going to be good. And even when obstacles come, and they do, it's a different feeling when I don't even know really how to verbalize it, because it's just a different, it's kind of it's just like the Bible says, it's a peace that surpasses understanding. Like even when stuff happens, you have this thing in the back of your mind, in the pit of your gut, like, okay, we'll get through this problem, but this is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yes, and I feel that it's all in His timing, and I just have to trust that He's moving the needle, and I'm ready. I'm ready to take it on and be there to make sure it gets out to whoever needs it, because the program is life changing as well. And every time I have the opportunity to mentor a young child or a young adult, it has been transformational for me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm
just a
sure of that.
reminder. Yeah.
Will you share a little bit about what the program is? And then I'd love to talk about the book after that. But will you share a little bit about specifically? So if somebody's listening, she's a mom or maybe a dad's listening, and their child, they have a school age child, and just like so many millions of other kids, they just kind of like struggle over the last year. What is the program that you have? What does it entail and all that?
So we have the I Am a Difference Maker creativity book, and that's what the mentorship is based off of. The mentorship program, it's 17 sessions, and we literally go through the book one page at a time with the child, and we want them to create what their vision is and how they see their intuition. and what they think they're talented in. And through that process, we're building confidence, their self-esteem. We're giving them affirmations to recite every day. We have homework that's associated with it that gives a routine of gratitude, asking for help where they need it, and then also giving. Anybody can give at any point of their life. But if we share with them when they're 5 years old that giving isn't always monetarily, it's giving of themselves and their time and the talents that they've been blessed with. And we share that with them. And we ask them to write the things down, how they were able to help someone else and give back to that person. And then, of course, we do ask them to write down what they're looking for, if they need strength or courage, or if they want a new bike, or if they need a new pair of pants. And we encourage them to write that down into detail, because we know we write the vision and God will start moving forward to bring it through. So it's a whole encompass from the mentorship time that we spend with them going through the book and bringing out that creativity to the homework that follows the rest of the day. And then the next day they come back, we go over all their homework and we encourage them, and we are so excited about their process. Because when they first start, they're not too sure. But by the middle, they're like, this is amazing. I can't believe it. And their gratitude is bigger and bigger every time. And they're actually showing it. And now you can tell they're starting to live it. So at the end of the program, we want their confidence level to be so high that they're ready to make a difference at any age that they encounter.
So what are the age groups of who fits into this category?
So my main focus is kindergarten through 8th grade for that particular mentorship.
Very cool.
Yes.
I'm sure, we all know that if we're not mentoring and building up and developing the next generation, that we're all sunk. So I mean, it's a wonderful thing, and an interesting time to be involved with children, because we don't have, it's not like we can look back and say, hey, when this happened before, this is how we dealt with it. I mean, we're writing the pages now for history. And I'm a Generation X. I have two millennials for children and one Generation Z. So I have 3 kids. And I have often told my Generation Z daughter, who's 18 and a half, that I believe that Generation Z, and this was before the pandemic and all the weirdness that has happened over the last, more than 12 months at this point, that I believe Generation Z is going to be the generation that actually moves the needle on so many global things that we've been talking about for decades. And that was before all of this. So, when you look back through history at the things that impacted that generation in big ways, obviously the baby boomers, it was, they went through, well, it was the baby boomers' parents that went through the depression, which impacted the way that they parented. They went through wars, the boomers. Generation X, we were latchkey kids. Our parents all worked. And then, we overly took care of our children, the millennials. So they're a little bit of an entitled generation. And then you have Generation Z, who is living out this time. And I'm so excited to see what God's going to do with them. So what you're doing, and I wonder if that's kindergarten through 8th grade is even the next one down. That might even not be Generation Z. Is that true?
I think so. Because I don't know where it ends and where it stops. I'm all in the mix of everything, but yes, I think it would be the next generation already.
Well, then that's amazing. And I wonder what they'll be called. They'll be called the COVID generation, Generation C, CV, or something. Well, it's really exciting. So what came first then? The book or the program, or were they simultaneous as you were creating them?
So the book came first, and then I realized I wanted to make sure that they got the most out of the book. And I presented it to my Optimist Club, and they were 100% all excited about it. And we were wanting to implement it into the school that we already mentored in. So it was created to have a virtual format as well as an in-person option. So I knew I myself would not be able to impact a million kids, but I knew as a group and as organizations, I could train and share um, the mentorship with them. And then it also led into going and creating the virtual format to another level of creating self-led videos where I will share the video and teach the lesson, and the student will be able to click on it and play it, do the lesson, and then create their space, send a photo of what their pictures look like and their homework, and then a group of mentors will then respond to them and give them encouragement and have that interaction. But that will all be done in a virtual format.
That's awesome. That was actually going to be one of my questions, was if this was virtual or face to face. So I have a couple of questions. Number one, so are you looking for people that want to be coaches in the Difference Maker program? That's the first question. And the second question is this program, is it based in biblical, does it have a biblical foundation, or is it secular? Tell me a little bit about that as well.
So yes, we are looking for mentors who are interested, and they can just connect with us, and we can talk to them about the program and see if it's a good fit. Now, the program itself, when I know I can go deep with the student in a biblical sense, I add all that stuff in. Where the book itself is universal. So when I know I'm into the public schools, I know I can't do something
Right.
to incorporate God, but I can definitely make it look like he's there, but in a different context. And that's just a matter of how the mentors would be able to train and to know how they can incorporate. So when I have a Sunday school group, for example, I know I can bring in God for every single lesson, and he will be present. And we begin by inviting him to be present in our space. And we end with the inspirational message, but then also a Bible verse that can be incorporated into it. So there's some wiggle room for some adjusting depending upon the group and organization that we're in.
That's wonderful. And, to have this be something that goes into the public schools, I know there's such strict guidelines as to what you can and can't say. And that's fantastic. Well, I was going to tell you this off the podcast, but I really would love it if you would go live in the Girl Power Alliance Facebook page and tell people that you are looking for people that want to be mentors in this area, because I know that this is just an amazing group of women in that group. And what you're doing is so important. Really, it's up to us to help to shape them alongside of just what's happening in the world. But it's our job to really shape them and help them to see beyond kind of circumstance and to, take hold of that. power. So if somebody wanted to connect with you, what are the various ways? Share your websites, social media pages, how they can connect with you.
Yes, our website is with Unbounding Potential. So it's www.unboundingpotential.com. And there you'll see a little introduction as well as a shopping page. And the shopping page will also share other products that we have, but it'll have the mentorship programs, the books, the homework, all the things. And then there's also a workshop section. So if you didn't want to get involved in the retail space, you could just go right to the workshop and they'll have all the mentorship pieces.
For those that are
On
watching the video, will you hold up the book so they can see it?
Oh yeah. So this is the cover.
And if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but it's a beautiful cover with, it's got a globe and hands and hearts, says I'm a difference maker. And is this available only on your website? Can they get it in other places?
This is available on our website as well as Amazon.com.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So don't worry if you didn't get it. It'll all be in the show notes. We'll make sure that the website is there so that you can go directly to the website. Of course, Amazon, everybody knows that. The book is called I Am a Difference Maker. How can people connect with you personally? Are you on social media?
I am. I'm on Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So we have business pages on Facebook and on Instagram, and it's just Unbounding Potential. And then through LinkedIn and Telegram, it's under Brenda Wolff.
Okay,
And that
perfect.
is spelled with 2 F's for the Wolff.
Well, again, if you're listening to the podcast, most podcasters are multitasking. So don't worry about stopping the car or writing it down because everything that you are hearing will be in the show notes of the podcast. If you're watching the video, all the links will be right below. And I just want to tell you, Brenda, that keep going. This kind of I like to call it like a godly pivot. You know, would you have taken such a big step had your entire industry been shut down? Who knows? Maybe it would have taken you a couple more years to really step into it. But, you know, God has such a great way of turning things that are bad and scary into something really exciting. And I'm so happy that you were obedient and that you listened. I know you're making a difference in teaching these children to see that they are a difference maker. And I believe that the mission that you're on, you will probably never know here on earth all of the lives that you impact. But I know that there will come a point in time, whether it's, you know, years from now or when you're in heaven with Jesus, that you will get a glimpse of how big this program is and how it reached out so far beyond what you can imagine. So I just want to encourage you, keep going, lean in, be loud. I'm so happy you're on the podcast. I'm happy you're a part of Girl Power Alliance. Like, I just want to give you carte blanche. Just go on there and talk and post things and let people know what you're doing because it's really needed and important.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure. I'm so excited to be in the group. I know that was a God-led piece as well. And I just have to share one piece. I was at Optimist today, and our speaker was from a foster organization. And as soon as she was announced to speak and her bio was listed, I knew I had the chills. I had to go talk to her immediately after because I knew I was getting that for a reason. That's a nudge. You got to go talk. And she was so graceful and willing. She wanted to know everything about all the areas. And you never know whose life you're going to change within that space. So everyone has to think about that when they're nudged or they're getting a different feeling. That's God giving us those extra whispers to pay attention, to take that leap of faith and to trust Him.
Mm, that is, I hope if you're listening that you will actually go back, like hit the back button, rewind it a little, and listen to that again. I think that is one of the most powerful things that we can share with other people is to listen to that. Listen to that thing. It's if you're thinking, oh, that's just me. No, it isn't. It's actually the Holy Spirit leaning on you and saying, do the thing. And I decided a long time ago that I'd rather be bold and take the risk of being wrong and looking dumb to people than miss out on something that God had for me or for somebody else. I just want to encourage you to be bold. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that when you, like, even when you said it, I got chills. I wasn't even there, and I got chills just hearing what you were speaking, and our body responds to that. So you're a remarkable woman doing remarkable things. You're just gearing up. So we'll have to do a check-in in 6 months or a year to see how it's going and how big your program has grown. And again, just thank you so much. Thank you for being part of what we're doing here at GPA, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much.